From LALATE News headquarters in Santa Monica, this is the Midday Report on LALATE.
It's a big midday here on LA with incredible great news live from Santa Monica with a $3.5 trillion recon pass and the latest updates about your fourth stimulus check of 2021. That recon will pay viewers upwards of about $15,000 with cluster number 1 passed, including hazard pay. Cluster number 2 being added with a $25,000 add-on before we get to cluster number 2, which has home repairs. And then another add-on being proposed on top of that, $250 billion. Cluster number 3 pass, including money for seniors, and then what's being added on top of that is those monthly stimulus checks. We have the latest details of the lots of shockers here at noontime. One of them that no one saw coming is the big surprise, as a potential deal is in the works with Joe Manchin. Wow, no one saw this one coming. Then student loan debt forgiveness, more debt being forgiven, and one viewer finding out his debt was forgiven live on air. You'll see the incredible story. And then cola going up 5 to 6%, but guess what? That's not the only thing that is getting lifted. You're going to get lifts two more times over the next few weeks. Then we go over the big exciting details as more money is going out, and one viewer is going into this weekend with not just some deliciousness, but $36,000. We'll be going over what's going on with the recon and deal making, and I have big developing details you haven't heard until now. Then we got back to third stimulus and fifth stimulus. We got a big supersized noontime recording. I'm excited for you. It's a big noontime, and it's live from Santa Monica. All the incredible details, and it starts right now. Hey, good noontime, everybody. I hope you're having a beautiful day and hope the weather is good where you are. It is starting to heat up back here in Los Angeles as a heat wave is coming back into SoCal. But in this recording, we go over the latest fourth stimulus check update of 2021. So much breaking news, and it's all happening in this recording. We'll go over the 3 clusters of checks that have passed. Cluster number 1, hazard pay. Number 2, home repairs. And number 3, money for seniors. Then the 3 add-ons that are heating up. The add-ons on top of that $15,000 to start that all viewers this channel will qualify for generally, the $25,000 add-on, the $250 billion add-on, and the proposed MSC add-on on top of that. Then we go over the big surprises as a potential deal from Joe Manchin, a potential deal with the student loan debt forgiveness, and big raises for cola. Oh boy, we got a lot in this recording. Then we turn over to the exciting details of what is going on with fourth stimulus and fifth stimulus and third stimulus, paying one viewer $36,000 in this last week. Yes, it actually happened, and it can be you. We got all this exciting great news, and it's a big supersize recording with a lot of new developing details, and it starts right now. So subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. This is LALATE, America's only 24-hour day. 7 days a week financial news channel in America, live in the morning like right now, and then taped in the afternoons. Coming up next is our 1 o'clock afternoon show. Then a brand new afternoons LALATE show at 3, a brand new evenings LALATE show at 5, and then our hit news show evenings countdown at 6 o'clock. I'm really excited for you because the shows from 7 o'clock all the way to 4 a.m. every hour on the hour are all now about fourth stimulus. So subscribe, like the video, and consider becoming a member. What's important to remember is that this recon, that's $3.5 trillion, that has 3 clusters that have passed, are all for you. Single individuals, married couple, people with children, people without children, seniors, young people on disabilities, SSI and SSDI. It's all for you, and the average viewer of this channel will qualify for about $15,000 for the items under this recon. As soon as it becomes along, I'll show you how to get this big sum of money, but let's go over each of the clusters, starting with the first one, passed, hazard pay, and $4,000 of elder care. Well, they got hazard pay in there by broadening the earned income tax credit and increasing the amount of money across the board for the essential workers. They got up to $4,000 a year for elder care and up to $4,000 a year for young children's care. They got money in there for free repairs to the home if that home is in a low-income community. Yes, totally free. They got grants for college students. Pell's grants made tax-free grants to the college and grants to the student themselves. They got $51,000 a monthly stimulus checks in there as well. The CTC, the child tax credit, broadened the eligibility and increased the amount of money. How much? $300 a month approximately every month, every year for 18 years if that household is low income, and that is $51,000 a child. Then they got money in there for bikes, cars, and trucks, all electric, all U.S. auto manufactured. 15% for the purchase of a new electric bike, $7,500 for a new electric vehicle if it's for personal use, a little bit more if it's for business use, and then a new electric truck as well. That is the first of 3 clusters of checks passed in this $3.5 trillion recon that'll pay you upwards of about $15,000. But let's look at the first add-on, and the first proposed add-on comes from the illustrious legislator, House Representative Maxine Waters here from Los Angeles. $25,000 of hard cash to you. Maxine Waters has proposed a $25,000 payment to you if you want to become a new first-time home buyer. This is huge. How would this likely work? When you're in escrow for the purchase of a new home, the federal government would likely just pay $25,000 to the seller in your name. As one viewer said during the live chat on Mornings LA today, someone said, I'm 61 years old, I've never owned a house, but maybe this is the first time. Yeah, there's no age eligibility. This could be your first big time. And with that, that is the first cluster of checks and the first add-on. Let's go to the second cluster of checks. And we got in the second cluster of checks, home repairs, more home repairs, and it starts right now. Second cluster of checks pass, home repairs, and paid leave. And guess what? This is a lot of money. If they got family leave and paid medical leave, how much? $1,700 a week. If you make $70,000 or more per year, split in half. $35,000 a year, then that would be $800 a week, split in half. $400 a week if you make $15,000 a year. They got child care programs in there, household tax credits, more seniors checks like dental and vision. That's also the third cluster. Stay with me. I'm coming to that second. And then they got tuition-free community college, free pre-kindergarten, and then they got more home repairs in there. Not only for a low-income community, everyone. And this is for weatherizing your home. You definitely need to weatherize your home, especially if the moderate Democrats are on the roof. I always say, keep the moderate Democrats out of the House. And wherever possible, keep the moderate Democrats out of the Senate. There you go. Ready for the second add-on? The second add-on comes from Senator Bob Casey, the 61-year-old Democrat from Pennsylvania. It's for you, and it's for my seniors and SSI and SSDI. This $250 billion is huge. What does Bob Casey see as a problem? He sees as a problem people who are seniors and people on disability who cannot afford home health care. So what do? They have a family member like a son or daughter stay out of the workplace and stay home to take care of that senior because you can't afford home health care. So what is it going to do? Give $250 billion to city, counties, and states so they can offer it to you for free. This is big. So you will get a licensed professional offering you this services for free, and then your son and daughter can go into the workplace and work if they wish, eliminating the labor shortage. That's Bob Casey, and guess what? He's also going to give us a big exclusive when we turn to this third cluster of checks passed. There we go, money for seniors. Get ready for that exclusive coming up right now. So here is the third cluster of checks. Free school meals for all checks, tax break checks, cheaper prescription medication checks, checks for farmers, checks for elections, checks for free internet, checks for clean energy, checks for workers like independent contractors, and checks for seniors like dental, vision, and hearing care. And then lowering the eligibility age for Medicare. What? Here comes a world exclusive. This channel has learned via Bob Casey's office that Bob Casey will look to lower the eligibility age for Medicare from 65 to 60 in this third cluster. Wow. So those are the 3 clusters of checks passed that'll pay viewers on this channel average of $15,000. As soon as it becomes law, I'll show you how to get this money. And we have 2 add-ons so far, one from Maxine Waters for those homes, and then Bob Casey for my seniors and SSDI of $250 billion. Let's turn to the third cluster, and you know what that third add-on is, of course, MSC. The incredible great news is that the number one guy to put those MSCs in there, Chuck Schumer, his office tells viewers of this channel twice in the last 7 days he's added it in there. Debbie Applegate and Donnie's wife being told by Chuck Schumer's office he's adding in that MSC. Now, with 3 items being proposed to be added in there, the MSC, the Bob Casey money for seniors, and the Maxine Waters for money for the homes, how do they add items to this recon? Let's go over that right now. 3 places and two sections of Congress, House and Senate, with 3 opportunities. Where are we? We got a $3.5 trillion recon. It's in a subcommittee of the House. What's a subcommittee? It's before you reach the House of Representatives. It's not the House floor. It's below it. That subcommittee has a $3.5 trillion recon. It's a package, not a bill, written by Sheila Jackson, the number 2 legislator in the Progressive Caucus. They can add it in there right then, any of these 3 add-ons. If they don't, then you get a House bill. If it's not in the House bill, then they can add it into the House bill by a House member before they call the vote on the House side. So after a House bill, but before a House vote, like an AOC and Omar can add it in there. If they don't do it on the House side, then the big opportunity, the Senate today, vote-o-rama. Yeah, I know those terms, that term vote-o-rama. It just conjures up images of Mitch in bell-bottom jeans and tie-dye shirts, driving up in a VW Bug and playing some psychedelic music. I know the vote-o-rama just sounds like a peculiar term, but it is. But it's not a peculiar event. It's a 2-day event at which they introduce changes to whatever was passed in the House. Those changes are called amendments. So who's in charge of this vote-o-rama? Chuck Schumer. Who determines when things are called for a vote during the vote-o-rama? Chuck Schumer. Who determines what's added in for a vote? Chuck Schumer. Who wants to give a monthly stimulus check? Chuck Schumer's office says twice in the last 7 days. And who determines what you wear to the vote-o-rama and what you eat? Mitch McConnell. He determines what kind of bell-bottom jeans and psychedelic tie-dye shirt you wear. Just hopefully he doesn't serve his lobster. There we go. That is the vote-o-rama. In the second half of this video, we got a lot coming up. We have student loan debt forgiveness. More student loan debt is now forgiven, and one viewer finds out live on air that his debt has been forgiven. Wow, you're going to be really impressed by this story of emotion. Then the big surprise, as a deal is in the works with Joe Manchin. Oh boy, you're only going to hear it from this channel and one print media. Big deal. And this is on top of 2 other items that are dealing for the recon over the weekend. Wow. Then we got COLA going up, but it's not the only time your benefits are going to go up. They're going to go up 2 more times. How does this work? I'll explain the nuances of fist stimulus. Then you're going to meet one viewer who got $36,000 this weekend. He goes into this weekend with an additional $36,000 on top of his $51,000 he got before from this channel. We're just getting started. We got a big noontime. But first, here's a little bit about the community page. I'll be back with you in 60 seconds as noontime continues. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE Daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE. And the excitement continues right now on Noontime LA with incredible great news as we go into the second half of this video. Boy, it's a big day with a lot of breaking news. We'll go over the surprise as a potential deal is in the works for Joe Manchin. Wow, this is huge. Then we'll go over student loan debt forgiveness as more debt is forgiven and one viewer finds out live on air. Then COLA is going up, but that's not the only time your benefits are going to go up. They're going to go up 2 times after that. Those details and more are coming up in the second half of this video. Then we're going to meet one viewer who got an additional $36,000. What? This is on top of the $51,000 he got before. And we're going to go over more deal making by those legislators for that recon. It's just getting started because it's a big, bold, beautiful noontime, and I'm excited you're here. So subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, YouTube record. We got big shows today. Coming up next is Afternoons LA. This video will automatically take you there, the 1 o'clock show. Then the big new Afternoons LA show at 3 o'clock with the latest breaking developments on this day. Then at 5 o'clock, a brand new Evenings LA. And I'm really excited with you with new shows all about forced stimulus every hour on the hour from 6 o'clock p.m. to 4 a.m. the next day, where new shows start back with Early Mornings LA. So subscribe, like the video, and consider becoming a member. Let's turn to the big surprise that made everyone delightfully excited. Student loan debt forgiveness got a big surprise this week as a new round of student loan debt was announced. What happened? Let's go over the details. What happened was the president had initially forgave student loan debt about a month ago for people who were disabled after graduation. But this week, the president forgave 2 more rounds of student loan debt. First, the president forgave student loan debt for individuals who went into the nonprofit sector after graduation for 10 years or more. Great news. Then, the big surprise. The president forgave student loan debt for anyone who went into public service for at least 10 years after graduation. That's working at your city, your county, your state, or your federal government. One viewer on Morning's Countdown yesterday found the news. He had tuned into this channel to find out the latest about fourth stimulus and third stimulus and fifth stimulus. He did not know he was going to be hearing about student loan debt forgiveness. And then during the live chat, which I jumped into, he said, I've been a prison federal guard for 20 years since graduation. Do you mean my student loan debts are forgiven, LALATE? I said, yes. Sir, your debts are now forgiven. He found out live on air as the video recorded. Absolutely incredible. So, for example, let's say you work for sanitation, Department of Sanitation for 10 years after graduation. Debts forgiven. Public school teacher, a community college professor, or a public works official, your debts are forgiven. Meantime, the president's considering forgiving debts at least $10,000. He says he'll do $10,000 tomorrow. The Democrats are looking to do $50,000. Big surprises across the board. Then we got a great news. You're only hearing this on this channel and one print media news outlet. A potential deal in the works with Joe Manchin. Whoa, this is huge. A potential deal is in the works with the presidency, the President of the United States, and Senator Joe Manchin of West Virginia for your recon. How do we get here? There are 3 parts of the recon the president and the progressives need to modify to get the moderate Democrats to agree to. 1, prescription medication, a Kristen Sinema issue. 2, climate, a Joe Manchin issue. And number 3, the price tag, not $3.5 trillion, something lower at around $2 trillion. That's easy. It's coming up just a second in this video. So what happened? The president seems to have found a deal maker for Joe Biden on climate. Now, when I say the word climate, it's important to remember that climate is not it's blue in the sky or it's sunny or it's raining. Climate refers to things like energy, electricity, coal, fossil fuels, things like that. Joe Manchin's for the state of West Virginia. In the state of West Virginia, they have a lot of items that are big industry. But the biggest part of the industry of that state is fossil fuels. Fossil fuels is one of the biggest parts of a state. And what did the president come up with an idea to do? The president came up with an idea to take one of the provisions in the past clusters about money for climate and change the wording so that the big industries in Joe Manchin states qualify for that money. Whoa, what an obvious great idea for a deal. Let me explain what happened. The president's considering changing language in that cluster about climate so that coal and natural gas power plants could apply to receive billions of dollars in the recon, a potential big payday for fossil fuel producers in Joe Manchin's home state of West Virginia. Fossil fuel providers are one of his biggest constituents, so this is almost like a non-brainer. You have your biggest constituents getting qualification for the biggest payday ever since the pandemic started, billions of dollars, because of a provision in the recon. Why would you not agree yes to the recon? All your constituents get a biggest payout they've ever seen in the history of this channel, maybe the history of the last 10 years. It's a no-brainer. This is huge. Now, let's turn over to where they're doing the changes on the other part of the recon, which is the price tag. You're only hearing these details on this channel, and ironically, this channel has been the source of a lot of exclusives on the subject matter. About the month of July, I was reporting that I had a belief that the proposed recon duration that the president and Bernie Sanders were looking at was 20 years, and that they reduced it to 10 years. Both of those beliefs that I recorded on air live with you have now been confirmed as correct and actually exclusives. Let's go back. In the month of July, before we had a recon, Bernie Sanders went into negotiations with the Senate Democrats, saying I want a $7 trillion recon. Why $7 trillion? At the time, I said, I think Bernie Sanders is trying to do 20 years. We now have confirmation it was 20 years. Why was it 20 years? Because the president wanted the programs to run for many, many generations, to still be around after he leaves us, is no longer president, no longer on this earth. He wanted the programs to be multi-generational. They said, no, we're not doing $7 trillion. So they cut the duration. Bernie told us they cut the duration in July. He didn't tell us to what date. I said, I think he cut the duration to 10 years. Now, going into the weekend, Jayalapal confirms they cut the duration to 10 years. Whoa, another exclusive reporter. So 2 weeks ago, I said the way you get from a $3 trillion recon to a recon at $2 trillion by keeping every program in there at 100% of the program is just have the programs run less years. Instead of having the programs run 10 years, run the programs for 5 years. Later, 2 weeks ago, Jayalapal said, let's do that. She said the same thing. Then the start of this week, Nancy Pelosi said there's 2 ways to get to a smaller recon. One of them is to shorten the duration. There you go. And then Jayalapal, going in the weekend, said, we want to just shorten the duration. Done. Now, let me explain to you how this works in terms of numbers, and let me go over the quotes. The way this works in terms of numbers is everything that I'm talking about, the $15,000 you would get for the recon, still be the same. The $4,000 for elder care, still going to be the same. They want, and I want, and Pelosi all want the same thing for the first time, I think, ever on this channel. We all want Americans to get big checks now, right away, next year, and at least the next year after that. You want to be back to 2017. You want to be back to 2016. You want big checks for a couple of years. We don't need to really be focusing on your situation 9 years from now or 8 years from now. We need to focus on this year, next year, and the year after that. Big, quick checks. And so, for example, when you look at the elder care, $4,000, it needs to be $4,000 this year, and then the year after that, and the year after that. It doesn't need to be removed. It should not be removed and should not be reduced to $100 a year. No. We don't need to focus on elder care 9 years from now. We need to focus on these big sums of money right now. And there you go. And also part of the equation is the climate. Because if you get the climate language modified, you get Joe Manchin to agree to it. So suddenly, all the quotes are lining up. Let's go over some of the quotes. First, Bob Casey says, people think this is wonderful. And then I say, darn right. We need to do more of this. We haven't done this in really 40 years. I love Bob Casey, 61-year-old Pennsylvania Democrat. Then Jayalapal, the big quote going into this weekend, not recon, weekend, confirming my reporting. She said, we rather reduce the number of years because the universality of the benefits and the immediacy of the benefits are absolutely critical. And frankly, that's more important to us than having programs run the entire 10 years. There you go. We need big checks, we need fast checks, rather than focusing on things running 10 years. There we go. Everyone's on same point. She then says, we progressives were happy to see Speaker Pelosi say something similar in her press conference. That press conference, of course, was Tuesday, and Pelosi did say that. Pelosi said we have a couple important decisions to make in the next few days. She said that on Tuesday. Well, the decision was shorten the duration. And then you get to a smaller item. Majority Leader Steny Hoyer, Democrat, said in the House, Majority Leader, said it's not just one person has to do it, we all have to do it. And then comes some great words of advocacy. We haven't seen these words of advocacy from Pelosi in a while. She said, we have to get the recon done because the recon must get done. Whoa, wow, that's great. Then she talks about the climate. Essential to the recon is the climate piece of this. We have no choice but to make this decision. We need to get it done. And then Alex Padilla, who is the senator from California, replaced our Senator Harris. He was a former city council person here in Los Angeles. He said, no climate, no deal on the recon. That's great. Basically laser focusing on climate is what gets Joe Manchin into the deal. So there you go. Recap. 3 ways you get this recon done. First, change the prescription medication language to get Kristen Sinema to sign on. Number 2, change the climate language to get Joe Manchin on board. That's a no-brainer. Give his biggest producers, his biggest constituencies, his biggest industries in the states big sums of money. He gets on. And then shrink the recon. Do not remove any program. Do not water down any program. Just get the programs running, for example, 5 years instead of 10 years. And then after 5 years, we can extend them again. Done. Deal. Very simple. I'm very excited for it. It seems very obvious. It seems very logical. Now let's go to something also really exciting, which is COLA. This is huge. No one would have thought this would be the situation when we talked about in July. Remember back in July, I said I'm loving this stimulus because your benefits will go up at least 5% because that's where I'm predicting inflation's going. Well, look at COLA. Your COLA benefits are going up 5 to 6% in the next few weeks. What I'm going to go over now is how this works, why you're going to get 2 more lifts after that, how this compares to FIS stimulus, how it works with FIS stimulus, and all the calculations started right now. First, I want to put forced stimulus aside because this can be very confusing. You just heard me talk about forced stimulus has all this money for seniors. It has money for seniors like dental. It has the Bob Casey add-on for seniors like $250 billion. It has all those other items. Put that aside because I don't want it to confuse this discussion. First, Social Security Administration announces everyone's COLA benefits in the next few weeks is going up 5 to 6%. Huge. Why? Because in July, when I was covering FIS stimulus and I was looking at inflation projections, I said I think you may get a lift up of 5% with inflation under FIS stimulus. When Wall Street is saying 2%, I was on the high end. And I said, if you get 5, that would be great. Look, you're getting almost 6% under COLA. This is great. Now, there's always someone who doesn't understand my verb tense. When I say shortly, we'll be going up 6%. They're like, oh, you mean by dinner it's going to go up 6%? You mean, after this video it's going to go up 6%? Tomorrow it's going up 60%? No, in the next few weeks. Oh, so you mean like in 7 days from now? That's why they offer that community college called What the World's LA Talking 101. No, it's in a few weeks from now. All right, so first COLA is going to go up 5 to 6%, but that's only your first of 3 possible lifts in 12 months. What? Now let's turn to FIS stimulus. FIS stimulus kicks in as a body of legislation after COLA, which is law. And FIS stimulus first raises your benefits up again if you're on SSI, SSDI, Social Security and Rental benefits. Yes, again. Then it applies a new benchmark. And that new benchmark will be inflation to replace COLA. And that benchmark will be applied, if they get this as law, let's say in January, February next year, this benchmark will be applied next December. And what is that benchmark? Inflation. And where's inflation going? It ain't going to be 0% next year. Inflation is going to be, at least 2-3%. which will mean you go up another 2-3% on top of that. Let's recap. First, COLA. Your benefits are going to go up one time in the next few weeks. Then, as soon as this stimulus becomes law, they'll raise everyone's benefits up again. SSI, SSDI, Social Security, Railroad benefits. Then, when fall of 2022 comes around, they're going to apply a new benchmark. At that benchmark's inflation, your benefits will go up again, all on top of each other, all cumulative, not replacing, not either or. All you get all of them if this stimulus gets passed. Incredible, great news. Then they're going to move the asset cap dating back to a 1980s law that says you can have more than $3,000 in hand. It's going to go away. They're going to move the income cap dating back to a 1960s law says you can't work. It's going to go away. And then they're going to remove the marriage penalty. And love is going to win, and you'll be able to marry your longtime love interest and no longer fear loss of benefits. Viewers like Rob and Sandy will be able to get married and no longer fear loss of benefits. And there you go. There is the exciting details of that COLA raise for fifth stimulus. Now, let's turn to something that I had told you was happening, but it got even better this week. You met last week Prina, who followed my advice. I had told viewers that additional $13 billion is going out to your city, counties, and states for rent and utilities, and to read it from the LALATE newsletter before you call, and that's what Prina did. She writes, last week, I want to thank you, LALATE, so much. When you mentioned the additional $13 billion going out to the states, I pounced and I immediately contacted the city of Austin. I got now $6,000 more for rent for 8 months into January 2022. Thank you so much. But guess what? I can top that. This week, Mark, remember $51,000 Mark? Yeah, that Mark. He started with $0 from this channel this week. He ended this week with an additional $36,000, bringing his grand total to $90,000 from this channel. Get that pen, paper ready and cell phone ready. I'm going to show you how to get this big money. It's still available. It's for you. It's for everyone. It's in red states and blue states, and it's rent, utilities. I'm also going to show you how to get some mortgage assistance, money for food, clothing, small appliances, home repairs, and potentially some holiday gifts as well. And it all starts right here. First, we're going to go with 6 places. They have different eligibility. They have different pots of money. Next, listen to the keywords I say in this video, and then also get ready for the nonprofits. First, the rent. Here are the 6 places you're going to reach out to. Your city hall, your city house authority. Your county hall, your county house authority. Your state hall, and your state house authority. And the keywords you're going to say, rent assistance because of COVID. Mortgage or utility assistance because of COVID. And there you go. Purple Hawks and members of this channel have started at 20,000 NISI, all the way up to 27,000, but now the numbers have gone higher. Jen got 40,000. You just met Mark, who got 36,000. Get some utilities paid. Get all your utilities paid. If you have 5 utilities, get all 5 utilities paid. Mark's brother-in-law got $15,000 of utilities paid. Then go get SNAP. What is SNAP? It's money for food. You get it from the Department of Agriculture. Eligibility is easier than a stimulus check. Why would you not get it? And everyone's benefits are going up a lifetime and automatic amount of 25% nationwide, everywhere, a lifetime starting this month. That means Mark's brother-in-law is getting $26,000 every year because of this channel. Get multiple sums of money. $32,000 for Nancy, Mark, going to $80,000. Lorraine, $110,000. Make the phone call and get multiple sums of money. Now let's turn to the nonprofits. 5 nonprofits, and they all start right now. Those 5 nonprofits help with the same items from third stimulus. It was a year ago when I started recording these videos about this money for rent. In the thick of pandemic, when it was sort of hard to get money, but there was money everywhere. And there were people then, and there are people still today that says, there's no money in my state because my sister's, brother's, uncle's, neighbor's dog groomer, voodoo singer, cat walker, dog groomer, nanny, ventriloquist says there's no money. I said, the ventriloquist told you that? Tell the ventriloquist to close his mouth. Tell the ventriloquist, read my lips. There is money. Tell the ventriloquist, stop pulling your strings. You need to listen to me, not the ventriloquist, who I thought doesn't talk. Don't be a dummy, or whoever's not supposed to talk. There is money. There is money. And unless you reach out to all 6 places, there is money. If you reach out to all 6 places and they said you have an eligibility problem, then get ready for the nonprofits. I got 5 of them because they pay for the money with different eligibility. The nonprofits pay for the same items on the third stimulus with different eligibility. Who are they? United Way, Salvation Army, Community Action, Catholic Charities, and St. Vincent de Paul. That is United Way, Salvation Army, Community Action, St. Vincent de Paul. The next thing about the nonprofits is they pay for items that the federal government doesn't pay for. They pay for homeless people in the shelters. Clothing, if you can't afford for clothing. They also do a lot of things to make sure you are warm and cool, that you are no longer fearing being frostbite or no longer fearing heat exposure. So they do things like furnaces, portable heaters, they paid for viewers this channel, small refrigerators, small fans, things like that, blankets. So reach out to the nonprofits. They do incredible, great job. In the noontime show, I've delivered the latest details, always saying that reach out to the Salvation Army for community gifts. One person said their Salvation Army said they're out of gifts now. They ran out on October 14th. I don't know if that's nationwide, but that would give you an example of why the urgency to get those holiday gifts from Salvation Army right away. I don't know if that's nationwide or that was only in one state. And there you go. That is the exciting details. Meantime, if you didn't see the surprise, it came in going into the weekend. This channel has now delivered over 3 million messages of advocacy. Here is what the #1 senator's office and his chief of staff. Chief of staff means the #1 person in the office, the #1 person in charge of his administration. What the chief of staff reports to the viewers of this channel. We now have in total between congressional and senatorial offices received more contacts of advocacy from LALATE than the number of signatures in the American petition. Everyone's amazed by the outpouring of touching stories from LALATE's viewers. Now they have more than what they've called than just a bunch of signatures. They have now a better understanding of how the Americans are trying to make it through the pandemic. They have heartbreaking stories from the LA viewers, and now they have a voice of the people in LA across the nation that has become too loud to be ignored. And then they end with a message for me, the chief of staff, a message to me. And that message, let me read that part of the screen grab you have there, which says, please, LA, continue your encouragement for the continued advocacy as the professional voice allied of the people you have become, and continue that until this becomes law. And that means that you need to continue to advocate until we get over the finish line. And with that, a lot of surprises across the board. What a day, and what a day it is becoming. We're going to go over more about this deal making with Manchin, the deal making with the recon, bringing it into the $2 trillion range. And with the excitement of Nancy Pelosi becoming the big advocate for that recon, it's coming up next on Afternoons LALATE and Evenings LALATE. Then we explore more about the student loan debt forgiveness, more about the big money under 4 stimulus that will pay at least $15,000 to start. We'll be cutting back over to 3rd stimulus and 5th stimulus because we got a lot coming up in the second half of today's shows. Coming up next is Afternoons LALATE. This video will take you automatically there. Then we're here with the 3 o'clock new afternoon show, totally new, and the new Evenings LALATE show at 5 o'clock. And I'm very excited for you because why? The shows from Evenings LALATE all the way to early mornings LALATE the next day are now all about 4 stimulus. The 6 o'clock show is Evenings Countdown, and then the 7 o'clock show, 8 o'clock, 9, 10, 11:30, all the way at 3 a.m. and 3:30, all about 4 stimulus. So you got a lot of information across the board. And with that, subscribe. 400,000 subscribers is a YouTube record. I want you part of this incredible family. Hit that subscribe button right now. Like the video, 2,000-3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member. Stay informed, stay focused. I'll look forward to seeing you on the next show. Have a beautiful afternoon, and stay here with LA for more.